It's hot.
It's like 80 degrees.
Is it?
Well, my Apple Watch says 84 degrees actually.
What's the feels like?
What's the feels like? Oh, what does it feel like to you? Can you give it a number?
90.
69.
The feels like is 83. I honestly don't know what, if anything, feels like.
Yeah, who determines the feels like factor?
Someone in Cupertino goes out and is like, yeah, it feels like 60.
They just like, well, welcome to episode 8.
I don't know what episode this
Me
is.
neither. I've lost track.
Me too.
We've actually almost been on this for like a month now.
I think, no, we started in January. We started the last month. We officially, like, not launched, but we officially, like, put our voices in this microphone on the last week of January.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. If in terms of like recording,
It's been a while.
yeah. That's so true. That's weird that I think about it because we launched this podcast on April 1st, on April 2nd.
Yeah,
or whatever.
we, like...
Or was it
Hold
the
on,
first?
someone commented on my video. Well, we'll worry about that later. But yeah, we, like, officially put our voices out in the world.
Mm-hmm. In the universe.
April 1st, yeah. Because we wanted everyone to think this was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah. And this might be maybe the third or fourth episode that'll be in video format on Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Because Anchor released. Thanks, Anchor.
But it's also, like, it's very interesting how, like, they tried that out.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, like, I feel like everyone's going to have to do it eventually.
Like TikTok. Well, no, TikTok's already video.
TikTok.
I'm fucking stupid.
Like Apple...
Like SoundCloud.
Yeah, SoundCloud,
video, Apple Music video.
Apple Music,
well,
Amazon.
Apple Music already has kind of like music videos, but
See, music videos, yeah, but not like video podcasts.
Yeah.
So like that also makes me question what's gonna happen to YouTube.
I mean, YouTube's already going the way of like TikTok, and
I don't know. It's very interesting how things change and like how if one thing changed, another thing has to change. Kind of like the butterfly effect.
Oh. Totally. Do you think do you think like someone at YouTube or like TikTok is like, this is what the people want?
Yeah, I feel like there at any company, I think people are like, oh, this is what people want. This is what people like. I feel like there's a designated person who wants to do that.
Yeah, but you bring up the butterfly effect. I think that's just so
I bring up the butterfly effect just because like that's the way the domino effect per se.
Domino effect, butterfly effect.
They both have effects. And they both kind of like relate to the movie that we watched last night,
which was Everything Everywhere
all at once.
EEAAO.
Yeah, like the guy who was like everything. I scanned my ticket and he was like everything everywhere, blah, 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 and I was like, huh?
Those are all vowels actually.
Oh, really? Everything. Everywhere.
AEIOU.
All at. Oh, I thought like, you meant like
acronym,
nouns.
not every single. But no, yeah, like if TikTok takes one step, or then the whole industry kind of shifts.
They have to take that, like how TikTok became so huge. Now everyone has to go into that atmosphere of like creating videos. Yeah,
and I mean I see that kind of also in like person to person, or like influencer to influencer, like content creator to content creator, kind of like how like there's like a trend or like a flow that you have to follow, or else you're gonna be left behind in a way.
And I think that's what nobody wants. Nobody wants to get left behind in the terms of trends.
Yeah.
But remember that in the Bush administration, no one gets left behind.
Yeah, but
I don't know why I brought that up, but I just brought that up.
I mean, going back to, like, because we watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, great movie. What'd you think?
It's a very creative movie. It's just not my kind of movie that I'd be like, oh, today I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to watch it because it was, I wanted to watch it because I heard good. I heard good about it.
I wanted to watch it because I really liked the trailer.
You liked the trailer.
The trailer was nothing like the movie. I don't know if I like that fact. I appreciated that.
I mean, if
that
the
I
trailer was
blindly.
Anything like the movie, I think it'd give away too much. Because the movie was just...
No, like, I feel like it needed to give me a hint that this was going to happen.
Like it was going to take you through this?
That it was going to take me to, like, places.
Would you want some sort of warning?
Not warning, but more like, oh, this is what it's about. Like, it's about just, like, questioning your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what I got from the trailer. From the trailer,
Me
I got
neither.
that like a mother and daughter were fighting,
Mm-hmm.
and then she went into multiple universes,
Mm-hmm.
and then I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah, and I remember we were talking about like multiverse movies and how you kind of brought up how people go to multiverse movies to escape, and
Yes,
I kind of went in with that.
When 9/11 happened, someone said this. I don't remember. I don't know if it's like true or how verbatim I'm being, but when 9/11 happened, like superhero movies and that type of movie was like very popular because people wanted like a hero. So there was a lot of those coming out. And then because of the pandemic, people are really into multiverse movies because they want to like go into see a world where there wasn't a pandemic sort of thing.
Yeah, and in a way, I mean, Everything Ever All at Once kind of encapsulates that. It's definitely not the objective of the movie to have some sort of escapism. It goes so deep into like introspection and like what the meaning of life is.
I think there was a lot of like themes going on, definitely.
And I mean, I love that we can kind of connect this with our podcast because the main character, Evelyn, and in an effort not to spoil it, but like she basically explores like different facets of her life that could have been her, and then I don't know, I don't want to spoil it.
It's very like I don't know. We should have watched the trailer before this because I don't want to spoil anything either.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I mean, in the spoiler, I mean not in the spoiler. In the trailer, I remember she was like,
yeah, like she was going into all these things, and I'm like, oh, she like gets pushed into all these careers because I saw her in a limo. I saw her like blah blah.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying, that how like she was kind of figuring her life out, and like even like as an adult, I feel like you kind of like figure your life out. You're like, what's next?
Yeah, and the movie really gave me like that idea and that perspective of how to approach it. Like, try and just think about what you could be, even though like I'm not everything that I want to be right now, and I don't think I'll ever be. No pun intended. But like maybe I have to like to really kind of extract that like power out of me to do things, because like in the movie, like they I'll just talk about it. Okay, there's gonna be spoilers. There's going to be spoilers in this. Like they do things that they would never do. Like in her husband, I forgot his name.
I think
fine.
it's Wong something.
No, it was a more American name.
Is it Raymond?
Raymond, yes, Raymond.
Yeah.
No,
Raymond. Gong Gong was
the father.
Grandpa.
Yeah. Raymond, he would like it's so hard to explain, but at one point he had to give himself paper cuts, and who would want to get fucking paper cut? Or like at one point he like grabbed the gum under the
and started chewing it.
Desk, and started chewing it, and then that connected into the power. And I think that was kind of
because that like triggers what the multiverse that you're gonna go into, right?
Yeah, which is a very funny like, trigger.
It's a very funny word,
Yeah. And it just makes for the scenario to be hilarious. But I mean, like comedy and craziness aside, like it made me think like, wow, maybe we have to like do things that we were never like supposed to do or even thought of doing.
Kind of like when I told you say yes instead of no.
Yes, dude. Yes. That's like peanut butter and jelly. That's like, yeah.
Because it's like push yourself into a situation that you would never think of pushing yourself into, because eventually it's gonna lead you to like a really good thing. Yeah.
And again, maybe it's not chewing chewing gum or slapping your face, or at one point I think she had to piss herself.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I think it was very quick.
Okay.
But she peed herself and then she got transported into the universe. But yeah, like for example, like I don't know, if I never like stood up to like give a speech in my speech class in college, like, and it's gonna lead
you like, oh my god, I really like being in front of people.
Yeah, like you learn rather than just like not doing anything. I think that's one of the themes that it was exploring.
I really understood that, and like I really like that whole like concept of like push yourself and to do something new, because you never know like where it's gonna lead. Because one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, blah, blah.
And in the movie so many things led to
Yeah.
everything. You kind of mentioned, I know when we finish, you like we're seeing kind of like themes that were similar to Turning Red.
When
with
I
like
was after we finished watching the movie,
Mhm.
yeah, Turning Red, because Turning Red, it's about how a mother, so it's like multiple generations. So a mother is trying to raise her daughter and not have so much pressure on her because her mother had so much pressure on her, and like that whole like domino effect of like raising your child, and yeah, and I saw that in everything everywhere because like she
Evelyn and Joy.
Evelyn didn't want to put so much pressure on Joy, but because she was like pressured into not giving her pressure, there was still so
it
much
gave
pressure.
the opposite effect. Yeah. That's so funny.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then it gave her depression and all this. And
Also, one thing about the movie too, Joy she's gay, right?
She's gay. She's LGBT.
Yes, but she didn't want to. Evelyn didn't want to invite her mom. Evelyn didn't want to invite Joy's girlfriend because it'll piss off the grandpa. But it was so frustrating, the fact that like Evelyn was inviting everyone.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, you're inviting a stranger?
Even the lady who...
Yeah.
I mean, they were like her customers.
But still, I was like, it didn't really get that. I'm like, oh, she probably comes in like once. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like that part, like it was 10 minutes into the movie and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that kind of... that definitely didn't really help with like, the character formation of Evelyn, because I feel like she was just like, you know, kind of scatterbrained.
Yeah. And like, when characters are like that, kind of like, I think you get that feeling and you know what you're going into. Because, you know, the morning show, Jennifer Aniston's character, how she's just like so like, this has to be this, and she feels like she has so much pressure. Like watching it, I would feel like I had so much pressure.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the whole point of these like characters,
to make you feel
what they're feeling.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, the morning show, that was such a good series.
That's so good.
Season 1. I haven't watched season 2 yet. But yeah, you're right.
It definitely feels like a different show, but it still feels like the same show, but it's just so much is happening.
And I think Everything Ever All at Once. What a long movie name. I don't know how to shorten it, or like truncate it, but it gave me that feeling, but it was like a weird like existential feeling for me. Because like when we were driving home from that movie, it was a trip. Like I felt like I was on some psychedelics or something.
And the fact we went to the bathroom afterwards.
Yeah.
That did not help because the bathrooms, there was classical music playing. It was all alone.
Yeah.
The way the bathroom, I don't know how
the tiles and the white of the bathroom.
Was there like a little like dressing room area where there was like a long mirror? There was that for me, and I was like, where am I? Because I felt like I was in like an LA glamorous hotel. Like, you know how the Grove has like those really extravagant restrooms
with the mirrors? Yeah,
that exactly how it felt like, but smaller with 2 stalls.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like,
agree.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and the movie theater we went to wasn't really that like fancy or like upscale. But,
exactly.
Yeah,
but the restrooms are really nice, and I'm like,
yeah, the movie just kind of like tilted me in a way, not in like a bad way, but there's definitely a lot to learn from it.
Yeah. And it just like it makes you feel things. It's like, is life even real? And I think like in the line like nothing matters.
Yep.
But before we explore that, nothing matters. And then like we went outside and there was nothing because it was empty. Everything was empty, and I was like, huh?
I mean, because it was the end of the night. But yeah. I mean. Yeah, it's trippy, man. That whole sequence of events. But
yeah, nothing matters. What do you think about that?
Gosh, I know Joy said like she's the one who kind of injected that into the movie. That like she was trying to bring Evelyn to the Everything Bagel, which kind of depicted her depression and a whole flurry of emotions.
I think also like the fact that they named it the Everything Bagel. I think it's like. They were trying to bring it because Everything Bagels like for the newer generation, and I see what they were doing with that because that's how the newer generation feels. They feel like they have so much pressure and things like that. I got that gist.
Yeah. It kind of redefined the Everything Bagel for me because it's like there's so much. There's so much on it.
Yes.
There's sesame seeds. There's garlic. There's salt. There's
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah. But Nothing Matters. I really liked. I enjoy that type of like that kind of moral teaching of like screw it. Like you can see it two ways. You can see either like nothing matters, and then like you want to kill yourself, kind of nothing matters, or nothing matters. Like I'm just gonna do whatever I want, like like YOLO, basically.
But also, like, if nothing matters, does that mean everything matters?
I'm sorry.
Like, if nothing matters, does that mean, like, I don't know how to put it into words. I'm like, go inside my head. If nothing matters, does everything matter? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Never mind.
I'm trying to see where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost like ignoring everything and then just focusing on like what's at hand.
Yeah.
Like that's really what matters.
Yeah, kind of like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just having an existential crisis again.
You might be.
I might.
You might be.
Yeah.
Anyways, gosh, no. Just thinking about this movie, like really,
there's
honestly,
so many things to dissect.
Yep. It's like a 12-layer dip.
Huh? Oh, I was like, huh?
You know, with like the cheese and the what else?
I thought you meant lyric because we were talking about genius lyrics a while ago, and I was like, 12 lyric. Welcome to our lyric video.
It's so hard to dissect this movie because it's so.
There's so many things to dissect, and I feel like you were saying how you were gonna go watch it again. I feel like if you watched it again, you would have a different perspective in it.
Oh, totally. I would honestly like to watch it again. It was a
then
long
tell them yes.
watch.
Just kidding.
It was a long
2
watch.
hours.
It was
I don't
very
like
long.
movies that are 2 hours.
But I remember, again, spoiler. There's a part where like the movie ends, and then I looked at you. I was like, "Wait."
I knew
it was too
wasn't
short.
over.
Yeah, it was too short.
Because I think the credits gave it away because the credits weren't real.
Yeah, yeah. This movie. I mean, I think artistically and creatively, it's. I want to say it's a masterpiece, just because of how much I feel like they put in so much work into it.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of work. Yeah,
and like we're just two people who watched it, and like for it to affect our like minds and psyches like this, and to think.
I was also saying last night how I hate movies that are like, I want people to feel this way, and we're gonna do it this way because I want people to feel, and I want people to have different perspectives. I feel like if you try too hard to do that, it's not gonna come across.
Yeah, it'll come off as like cheesy and like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
like, yeah. Some movies do.
Some movies do that. Yeah. But yeah, it was a very good movie, and
but intertwining that into kind of the butterfly effect, because I know that's something that we wanted to really talk about here. Is that like how Evelyn would basically think about her different lives, and then using that to kind of push her forward, but. Like I feel like all these different lives, it like led her to where she was.
Like all these, like thinking of all these different lives and all that she could achieve led her to like achieving nothing. Is what you mean?
Yeah, kind of.
Oof.
Kind of, yeah. Because at the end, there's just nothing really.
That's very sad. How you like? It's sad thinking about how like you have all these like dreams and expectations for yourself, and then you end up doing nothing.
I mean, not nothing, but you're definitely not doing those things.
Those things.
Like how she was like a kind of like a hibachi chef. Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
And like how she had that life, and how she was like an actress, but she's an actress. But it was kind of playing. It was getting meta into that point. But she's just an Asian lady who runs a laundromat.
Yeah.
And like I'm just a
stupid person here
on this podcast. Yeah. And like you start to think about all the different lives that you could have had. But that's straying really far from. I mean, that's going very deep.
You are reading a book about that. Care to?
Yeah, I am reading a book called The Midnight Library. It was recommended by a friend. I had like going into this movie, I had no idea going into Midnight Library what it's like. You
had no idea what you were gonna expect, and then you like were like, wait a minute, this is like the book I'm reading.
Yeah. It's about this girl who kills herself.
How old is she?
She's like, I think she's like kind of our age, like
Okay.
mid late 20s.
Okay.
And her life's kind of a dump. That's what she thinks, at least. She has depression and she kills herself, and she ends up in the Midnight Library, which is between life and death. So
Yeah.
kind of like a purgatory,
Yeah.
if you will. And in this library, it's all these books and like endless in a, like kind of a dark room. And there's all these books she can take from and open it, and it's another life of hers. Like it could be her like famous and successful, or it can be her vacationing and having a good time in a different country, and just all these different things.
Were there, like, the movie, was it things that she wanted but never achieved?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
And yes, actually. And I haven't finished the book. I'm halfway through it, so I don't know if it'll change.
Yeah.
But there's kind of an instigator character who pushes the main character, the one who died, well, quote unquote, who died, to think about, like, what are your regrets? Like, what do you regret in life?
Yeah.
And that kind of lets you think about, like, the things that you wish you did.
Wow.
And so she's just kind of in this library pondering and, like, realizing, like, and when she opens the book, she gets put into that life. So, like, if she was rich and famous, she'd get put into that life and she'd start living it. And then if it gets to a point where she's
living
like,
it
I
where
don't like
she
it.
already knows that she's gonna commit suicide. So she
This is as if
doesn't?
she didn't commit suicide.
Wow.
It's an extremely, I think it's a really powerful read, and I mean I recommend it because it started to get me thinking, like, because like all these, there was a line in the book that said along the lines of each decision you make, no matter like how small, causes like a huge wave of like change.
Yeah.
Like me choosing to sip this is like changing literally everything.
No, and I think in the movie too, how it was like, I don't know if I kind of understood it like that, where like any thought that she had, like maybe she wasn't like aspiring to do that, but she was like just a silly little thought, be like, what if I was an actress? And then like this whole separate universe was created. Yeah.
And I think the pain behind a lot of that was when because she was in the middle of a divorce, and she would have like flashbacks about like her husband, like she'd flash all the way back. There's a whole sequence, all the way back to when she was born. Literally.
I saw that. And they're like, "It's a girl. I'm so sorry." That scene was so funny,
dude. That whole sequence was so good. But again, it just kind of only emphasizes like that butterfly effect, that ripple effect that we see, and
like the butterfly effect. Like, oh my god! Like, have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I have been thinking about it lately. Have you experienced it lately?
No,
I mean like,
where you do something, like, you do something because you think like, oh, it'll lead me to this. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever like engaged in that activity?
Yes, I have. Where are you going with this?
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, like me,
because like butterfly effects, I think like sometimes you don't know you're partaking in it. And then sometimes you're intentionally partaking in it because you want something.
I mean, for me, I can give an example, like applying to college. Like I know the end result. I'm going to get a degree. So I kind of start that ripple effect. That's definitely kind of a larger scale or a more obvious thing to think about.
Yeah, no, I mean like the little things. Like, I'm going to be nice today because like I'm hoping that my day is going to be good. Kind of thing.
Is that what you do?
I'll admit it, I guess. There was sometimes like a while back where I was like, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. I don't remember what it is. I get, even if I try to remember it, but I remember it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, this, and this because I'm hoping that's gonna lead to this. And it never did.
It's almost like planning it out in your head and then really trying to
like
get it.
Manifesting it.
Yeah. Wow, manifestation.
I don't know. What do you like? When's the first time you ever heard the word manifestation? And where you kind of like understood it?
Okay, wait, let me think back. I'm tracking through high school. No, I don't think it existed in high school. I think maybe right after I graduated high school and like went into college. Gosh, I don't know. It was definitely recent because I don't
remember. I feel like manifestation and kind of like all those like term surrounding it didn't come until like recently.
Yeah,
Like I want to say like not even 2019.
I agree. I want to say it came along with like TikTok, because that's really what sent it on. Like,
I feel like manifestation and tarot card readings.
yeah.
Like I would like to believe it because like I respect like people who do it, but I feel like it's trendy, and because it's trendy, it kind of loses its Yeah.
Yeah, that
like
mwah.
Oh, it's real. Like oh my god.
No, yeah, no, I agree. It loses its It loses its like I don't know, like sparkle. Yeah, it's spark.
Yeah.
I remember I did a tarot card reading before I got the job that I quit. And it felt like more of a manifestation, if anything, of like trying to like really harness all the good vibes that, you know, this job will go great, and that, you know,
because I think there's I don't remember what it's called, but in my English class we like did a whole like lesson on it, how like the palm readings are some sort of like isn't real because I forgot what the word was, because like it's so general. It's like, oh, today you're gonna have a good day, like your cards say that. It's like
horoscopes,
anything. Yeah, it's like, of course I'm gonna have a good day, like okay. Yeah, it's so general that it's just like it can be applied to everyone.
Yeah. And I mean, you can think of it like empirically, like a Panda Express fortune cookie.
Yes.
Like sometimes you read it, I'm like, wow, like
it's like my destiny. My friends say that I'm funny. Oh, anyone can say that.
Yeah. But literally it's just you like, oh, happen to get this cookie that happened to say this.
Yes.
And there's millions of cookies out there that probably say the same thing. But yeah, no. I don't know. Have you done a tarot card reading?
I have once, and I'm like, I believed it because like things that I really don't say out loud to many, maybe to like one or two people, like they said it, and I was like, okay, like maybe there is something to this. Maybe
like a little coincidence.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a coincidence. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel the same. If in my tarot card reading, I definitely feel like it wasn't in a way to predict the future, but rather kind of put me in that mindset to start like triggering things that will get me in the direction that I want. Because like, I mean, you pull these cards and they show like different like characters or symbols, and then you look it up and see what it means and try and somehow connect that and make it relevant to your life.
Like you have to somehow connect it. It's like, so if I have to connect it and it isn't just like easily connected, is it real? Yeah.
I mean, manifestation, like in layman's terms, is just like, I don't know, really hoping something will happen, right?
Yeah. Like you have to you have to like say it out loud, because then maybe it'll happen. Yeah. Because I remember like when my friends and I would hang out at a Starbucks in high school, and we were talking about like, I really need a job, blah 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 blah, and we said it out loud, and then like someone overheard us, and he's like, oh, here's my card, but it was like a construction business. Like we have that's like, okay, a job, but like,
yeah,
we're not gonna get this job.
It didn't hit the target.
No.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of, I used to watch this YouTuber. He was really ambitious, and what he'd do, he would, and you might have seen this trope in movies where like they have like a picture on their, like a paper on their wall, and they put like pictures of
like
things that they
board?
want. Yeah. So they put like a Tesla, and they put like, I don't think exactly
it's
a
not
mood
a mood board. It's something
some
board.
sort of board. A manifestation
storyboard.
And they put the things that they want that they don't have, like money and
I've seen people do that.
And I think that's in a way manifesting, because it's like,
it's really, like you're putting it out in the universe.
Yes, and that's really what gets people in, like the universe.
Yeah. But no, I think it's just because you see it every day. You see what the goal that you want to reach. It's just like, it's like you're gonna do things to get you to that goal because you see it every day, because it's on your board. Yeah.
Oh yeah, manifest that shit, girl.
See, I don't know. I don't know what manifesting means, or maybe it's like I'm not doing it right, but like
maybe it's just not working out for you.
Yeah, it's like manifest doesn't work because I haven't gotten everything I want.
And sometimes I'm scared to manifest, because it's like sometimes I'm just scared that it won't happen. Like,
oh no, Do you ever think of like future scenarios and you're like, oh, it's gonna play out like this? Like, let's say you're going on like a trip. Oh,
Dude,
wait.
yes. Stop. I'm going on a trip. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, it's like, let's say you're going on a trip. It's like, oh, it's gonna look like this. I'm gonna go see this. Oh my God, I'm gonna take a picture and it's gonna go like this. And then like nothing works out the way that you wanted it to. I kind of like, when I was younger and still nowadays, it's like I can't think about how I want it to go, because if I think about it, it's not gonna go like that.
Yeah, it's almost like if I try to manifest it, it's gonna go the opposite direction.
That's exactly how
like
I feel
kind of
about
how
it. That's
like,
why I asked you. I'm like, do you think manifestation's real? Because like, I guess I'm not doing it right.
like how when we go out, sometimes I'm like, wow, I really wish I run across someone that I know, and it never happens. Or like when you're like, man, I wish I didn't see. I hope I don't run into anyone in this Walmart, and then you run into literally this person from like 10 years ago, and then they recognize you and you recognize each other. And then,
wait. Don't say it like that. Don't out me.
I feel like I'm outing a lot of people. I'm
Can
only
we move on?
Okay. Sorry.
No, let's talk about that. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, like, I don't know did I put it in? The butterfly effect. I feel like it applies to the butterfly effect. How I was like, damn it, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, before, because you did mention a trip and we laughed about it, but I am going overseas on a trip, and I was just thinking, like, there are times where I do, like, fantasize like the perfect trip and like, oh, it's gonna go this way, or like, and I've done that before in previous like experiences of my life, and I realize like it really sets you up for like failure.
Yes,
because nothing's gonna go like there's so many things that are not in your control. Like in the butterfly effect, yeah, you trigger something and you push something over. I'm demonstrating for the folks who are watching.
You were gonna spill it.
Like you can push something over, but everything else that follows does not. It does not favor you, at least, like all the time.
I do want to say that, like, you know how people are like, control the things that you can control. It's like I can control what I think, but like I can't control how I want things to play out because there's so many other factors.
Totally.
Yeah. It's like
you can't control
there's a lot of things that I can't control, and they're like, control the things that you can. It's like that leaves me to like one thing out of like the 10 things. It's like,
yeah, it's like, well, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know? But I mean, in a way, it's also like, okay, like this is all I can control.
It's like, okay, I did what I could.
And you can either control or like influence something as much as you can, but you really we have such a little control as tiny little human beings.
And isn't that the saddest thing ever?
It is.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point?
Nothing matters.
Yeah, nothing matters. But in a way, everything I'm getting it. In a way, everything matters.
There you go.
In a way, everything
there you
matters.
go. Hit it on the nail.
It's hitting me. What did you put in my drink?
Your
roofie?
No, I put they have the ingredients. I don't know.
Aloe vera.
I put aloe vera in your drink.
Imagine if aloe vera was a psychedelic.
Wow.
Anyways,
so what were we talking about?
Sorry, manifestations and like the butterfly effect. I mean, recently for me, I know in a couple previous episodes, I came out with not having a job, but now I do have a job lined up.
And is it because like you spoke up and you said like, this is what I want to do, and because you spoke up and said what you wanted to do and you put it out in the universe, someone was like, wait a minute, I know blah 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 person, and blah 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 person recommended you to blah 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 job, and you got the blah 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 job.
Wait, you're putting it into perspective that I never even looked at. Like you said, you tracked all the way back to when I started talking about wanting to be this position. I'll just say I want to be an analyst. And I was telling you, we were at the park one day when I still had my other job about this position. I never even thought about all the way back to that. I just thought about like, oh, I know this person, and then this happened, and this happened. So you
manifested it
in a way, but I didn't. But not intentionally.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, are we supposed to do it unintentionally for it to actually work? And that's why I'm doing it all. I'm just kidding.
I think, gosh, it's hard to manifest something and then also realize that you have no control, because manifesting, I feel like it's an effort to like
you
really
did have
control.
a lot of control because you kind of like you kind of shifted the gears.
I mean, I quit my job.
Yeah, that's why you shifted that gear and you like
Yeah.
started talking to people about how like you weren't at the place you wanted to. So you yourself did it. The universe didn't do it all.
That's crazy, dude.
Or maybe the universe did do it all.
Stop.
Who knows?
Stop. The stars aligned. No, yeah, that after watching that movie, it really got me thinking about like where I am now. Because I mean, now I'm back in like things are going relatively fine.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, one thing leads to another, and had I not known this person who knew that I was not out of a job, who knew that I wanted to do this, it's life really do be like that.
I think my high school neighbor recently, she wanted me to help her with her graduation speech, and she said something. Oh, we're on our own time, and like I kind of see it that way, but it's kind of like okay, but like. How do I know that it's like going according to plan? It's going all according to God's plan. It's like I never know. Things like that. Yeah.
We're all in our own.
We're all in our own time. So like how you kind of like see other. I kind of like understood it's like you kind of see how like other people have their dream jobs. Other people have this going on. It's like okay, like they're at their own time, and like that's gonna happen at my own time when it's ready for me.
Wow, that's really powerful. Actually, you're diving deep. You're cutting into the cake.
Thanks. These are my everyday thoughts.
I mean, yeah, we go at our own pace.
Yeah.
You can't compare. I used to compare myself so much.
Yeah.
Especially when I was younger and on Instagram still. It was like, I would look at what other people were doing, or like when I graduated high school, I was like, wow, what are these people doing? And sometimes I feel so bad, but having that mentality of like,
I think you just need to know that it's all fake.
I think that helps too. Just telling
like,
myself,
I used to think that too, but then I saw like, wait, I can fake this because I faked several situations. Yeah, not faked, but I built a narrative, and I'm like, oh, it's easy to fake. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can definitely fake your whole life on Instagram.
Yeah.
But like just taking the judgment out of that and just telling yourself, yeah, we are on our own timeline, our own Twitter timeline.
I mean, technically, we're all on our own TikTok timeline.
We're all on our own for you page.
Yeah, we're all on our own For You page. Our own For You page is geared towards us, and if I'm gonna see a cat video when I need to see a cat video, and when I have to see a cat video,
that's kind of how I went into like with this project of chaotically conquering. Of like, you can't. Like I look at other podcasts and like I feel like they're like, wow, that's amazing, but they're all on like we're all on our own track.
Oh yeah, we're all creating a different vibe, so to speak.
Yeah, and then whatever happens. So that's just life, man. We're so mature.
No, I think this is all a facade.
We're just talking words.
Yeah, we're just talking
acting
and hoping that
philosophical.
it like makes sense somehow.
It does make sense. It does make sense.
It does make sense, but I feel like.
And one of your favorite insects is a butterfly, is it not?
What? Oh, are you trying to like? Yeah, I do like a butterfly.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, and I like the butterfly because just because like. I don't know why I like the butterfly, but if it calls my name, just like how daisies call my name. And then one time someone was like, it's about rebirth. And like, it was really calling my name at a time that I was like, needed that. That I was like,
butterflies are like rebirth?
Butterflies are like, I think.
Because they turn into a cocoon.
Yeah, butterflies and like, butterflies and daisies are like symbols of rebirth and like restarting. And I was starting, because I used to wear like, I used to be very like dark colored, and then like I started like some gears shifted in my mind, and I started kind of like rebirthing. I was recently thinking about how like, oh my god, like 3 years ago I was like in the worst time of my life, and like yeah, like butterflies and like florals and all that, like people associate that with me, but it wasn't until recently that I started like attracted to that, and then like people told me the meaning, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, yeah, you've changed.
Like,
not in a bad way.
Yeah,
in a great, beautiful way.
Because there's
Yeah.
like TikTok trend there, like people are like the Malibu song and putting like their timelines and as do you know the As It Was like montages that are going on TikTok too?
Of like going back in time.
It's like
yeah.
it's nothing as it was, and then like people are showing like 2019 and 2018, and then the Malibu song, like people are playing like, I would have never believed you 3 years ago. You told me that I'd be singing this song or something like that. That's that lyric.
Miley Cyrus Malibu.
Yeah, Miley Cyrus Malibu
it's a good
song. Yeah, and like I was like, oh shit, like I didn't think about like how 2-3 years ago I was in like a really bad space, and like I was really surrounded by like people that like ultimately I figured out didn't care about me.
Not good influences.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say good influences. I'm like, there's, I think I saw another thing too. It's like the friendship felt one-sided, so I like stopped texting them, and they never texted me back.
Wow, they didn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll only care when you make it.
Exactly, they only care when they want something from me.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it's like, you're right. Like they didn't care about me. Like maybe they did, but then like they didn't. Yeah.
No, yeah, true, and that's all a learning experience. Because I mean, you wouldn't be where you are today without
learning those things.
Yeah,
and then today, coincidentally, I was around where they live, and I was like, I was with my sister, and she was like, I have this like sixth sense that like we might run into them, and she didn't say it like that. She didn't say I run into them, but she said I have a sixth sense, so we're gonna run into someone. And like I knew what she was saying, but I'm like, oh, that we're gonna run into my aunt, even though it's definitely not her that she was talking about. But I knew that, but I didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't want to manifest
like
it.
curving the manifestation, like sending it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you saw her?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I was thinking about that too, like how the world's so small. Oh, there was a line that I was like writing, like the world's so small, yet they say the world is so big, but it's yet so small for us.
Yeah. That's hitting me, because when you say that, like my mind like in like visually like zooms out into like the universe and the galaxy and how it's huge. But like here in our own little lives and our own little stupid brain cells, like it's very, very tiny, almost claustrophobic.
Or did I say it the other way around? I think I said it the other way around.
Either way around makes sense.
They say the world, they say it's such a small world, but yeah, it's such a big world for us because we never run into each other. You never run into the things that you actually want.
Because it's all random. I mean, not all random. Like, there's influences.
It's like you think you're going to run into someone because you want to run into someone. And you want to stir the... I don't know if it's stir the pot. I wouldn't say that. But yeah.
I mean, I just can't help but visualize, like, little molecules, like, bouncing back and forth. And then having the chance of, like, hitting. But sometimes, like, people, like, you know from the past, like, you don't know whether or not you barely, like, touched.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, what if, like... what if I was going in at what if I left at 4:30 but they were coming in at 4:32?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or had you maybe left your phone in the car and you had to go get it and you're like just a couple
kind
seconds
how, like,
later and then
you ever heard the stories about 9/11, how like people miss their just by like a second?
Yeah, like, oh, I didn't go to work today, or like yeah.
It's like my car broke down at like in road to the airport, and then like this happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
That reminds me of what happened. I don't know if I told you, but my car battery like died. Oh, I didn't tell you this. So I went to the mall, and so my car battery died at home, and I really need to go to the mall to pick up some pants for my trip. And so I had to get it jump started. So my mom came home after work just to stop by and help me jump start the car.
Yeah.
I jump started the car, went to the mall, and I turned the car off. And I tried to turn it back on just because I was like, and it doesn't turn on. So I'm stranded in this mall.
Yeah.
It's not in our, it's not where I live.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit. So, and I'm in this parking lot. It was busy. And I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have my phone. I had to pick up these pants. So I was like, I'm just going to run the errands at the mall. I picked up the pants. I literally went into the Target at that mall and I went because I didn't have my phone.
Yeah.
I went on one of the the display iPads, and I was looking up how to fix battery or like
car battery.
yeah, like because I don't have AAA, I don't have like a roadside assistance number that I can call, and I don't even have a phone to call them with. So I was like, oh my god, what do I do? So I went straight back to my car. I just sat there. I was like, just pondering life.
Yes.
Like, am I stuck here forever? And so I see in my head, I'm like, maybe someone's bound to who parked next to me to come back and pick their car up and leave. So at first, this one guy came up and he was about to leave, and I was like, can you please help me? Like, can you please help me? I just need to jumpstart my car. And at first, he was like, sorry, I don't have cables. I was like, I have cables. I have jumper cables. And he's like, I gotta get to work.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, he's like, I gotta get to work at like 4. It was like 5 minutes before 4. I'm like, you're capping.
True.
But he left, and so there's an empty parking spot next to me, and I'm just sitting in my car. I'm like, I'm
God.
like
waiting for what the story's gonna bring.
and so it's a good ending.
Okay.
This Asian lady. Well, first I see cars like circle around. I'm like, oh my god, are they gonna park? Are they gonna park?
Yeah.
Because I need someone.
Yeah.
But this Asian lady in a Prius comes up next to me, and she rolls her window down. I have my hood up, and she's like, "Is this spot taken?" I was like, "No, take it, please park here." And then I got in my car. I'm like, please help me. Like, can you help me jumpstart my car? And I was expecting her to say like, no, like leave me stranded as well. And at first she was like, I don't, like, she was hesitant. She was like, oh, I don't think I can. It's a Prius. I'm like, girl, your car has a battery.
Yeah.
So we popped the lid open on hers, and then we jump started it, and like she basically saved me. Like, and so that got me thinking, like, had I not left my car at this time, had I not been stranded in this parking lot, had I not went to go pick up the pants anyways and go around that Target,
never, like,
ran into this lady. Yeah, I would have that chain of events would have never led up to that point.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes, like, this doesn't change like my decisions right now, like in the present. Like, I'm not always thinking like, wow, maybe if I leave this door like 1 second later, or maybe if I leave 2 seconds earlier, it'll make a whole big difference. But I think like it can definitely like at the result.
Yeah.
It'll change.
Yeah.
Things,
See, like, things like that I've always thought about too. It's like, I'm gonna do this. It's like, what if I leave? Because, like, when I put creamer in my coffee, I'm like, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm like, and then 4 for good luck. I always say that just for like a joke, but I'm like, maybe one day, like, I'll actually have good luck.
From putting creamer in your coffee?
I just say that. Yeah.
I think that's is crossing your fingers a way of manifestation?
I don't know. I think you just have to put it out into the universe.
Yeah, let me just post on Instagram.
Universe,
post on stories.
Universe, I'm putting this out to you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to my little
2057
TED talk about 2057.
57's our lucky number.
I mean, anyways, thanks for listening to my story about getting stranded.
I really thought like you were gonna say like this old lady. Like, it turns out I knew her.
Oh,
I really thought that's what's gonna happen.
That would have been actually crazy. I was actually hoping I'd see someone I know, just because it'd be easier to just help get them to help me.
Because you know that we're gonna say no.
Yeah, it was a total stranger. So, yeah, I'm really grateful, but also I've learned a lot that I shouldn't risk that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really have like a feeling that was gonna happen, but sometimes I do have like kind of like
a sixth sense.
Yeah, like an inkling of like, God, I think something's gonna happen. Like how your sister almost
had an inkling today.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's like a spirit inside of me that's telling me something, or
I would say like
a superpower.
Not to like interrupt you, but
go ahead.
I remember there was one time where I had like a sixth sense and an inkling that earthquakes were gonna happen, and then like it was during that time when there was a lot of earthquakes, and I was like, do I have a superpower? Stuff like that. And then I think, what else? There was a different situation.
Manifested earthquakes?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, can I manifest earthquakes?
Can you do it right now?
Yeah. It's coming.
No, that's just my fast.
Anyways,
yeah, sometimes I feel that too, whether it be out of fear or out of desire. I think that's a way, maybe that's like a sign that our body is like manifesting something, that it like lets you know like, hey, this is gonna happen, and then it happens.
I don't think you remember how last year, around maybe like not around this time, but a little before this time, like maybe January, February, how I told you like I feel like something's gonna happen. Maybe I was just really depressed.
Like the pandemic?
No. It was during the pandemic, like last year, like 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I was like, I feel like something's gonna happen. And then it was before I was just involved with everything that I'm involved right now, and like all the good things that are happening in my life. But I was just like, I feel like something's gonna happen.
Just something.
Yeah, because I had this like feeling, like I feel like something's coming. I just didn't know, and I don't know if it was all these things, good things that are happening, but yeah.
Almost like a like that.
It was just like butterflies in my tummy.
Like uneasiness.
Yeah.
Like
It wasn't uneasiness. I was just like yeah, butterflies in my stomach. Yeah.
Butterflies.
The butterfly effect.
Butterfly effect is in your stomach.
But yeah, you were saying before I interrupted you.
No. That was a good interruption. I mean, yeah, you have a lot of good things. Like whether or not you felt that coming.
Yeah.
Like,
and whether or not that's what I was feeling coming. Yeah.
Maybe it's just you have like you're really in tune with yourself.
Maybe. I'm in tune.
Because like sometimes I don't even know if when I need to shit, you know. And all of a sudden I'm like.
There was this meme how girls are like, I have to run errands, and then they go get coffee, and then they go to Target and like TJ Maxx or whatever. You've sent that meme to me.
What?
It's like I have to go run errands, and they're just like the Starbucks, Target, Marshalls, and how all the girls are like, is it weird how like every time we get a Marshalls or Target we have to shit? I was like, because you guys went to Starbucks first thing in the morning.
They're like, God, isn't it weird?
Yeah.
That...
It's like, no, it's not weird because you like did it.
Yeah. See, there's that part of like people thinking they manifested something, but really you just did something like that was obviously like a precursor to this happening.
Exactly. It's like I manifested my time in federal prison. It's like you murdered someone.
So like, what are you here for? Oh, I manifested this.
I knew this was coming.
No, I mean, yeah, same. I mean, I didn't feel like I kind of go into things with no expectations now,
same.
and not hoping for anything, nor hoping for like.
I just don't feel anything.
Yeah. You're just numb.
Yeah, I'm just numb. Whatever happens, happens. Because nothing matters.
But yeah, I mean, just kind of thinking about everything that's happened, like, just wild times that we live in. Yeah,
and I also think about like, something that I'm also in tune with is like everything changes like in a second, because I've seen firsthand and like up close how things changed in a second. Yeah, it's like you can just go to sleep and like wake up into a new world. God,
thinking about that really scares me, and I don't want to think about it.
I mean, you should think about it positively. I feel like you need to put positive energy out in the world, and positive things will happen to you.
That's something that I'm working on.
Because there was a time where I'm like, I kind of gave up, and I was like, nothing good. I'm never going to get what I want. And then I was like, wait a minute. If I think that, it's actually going to happen.
Yep. You're kind of manifesting bad energy. Yeah. You manifested good energy. Yeah. And so I say that ironically, but also like it's good to put yourself in a positive mindset.
That like a positive mindset would be about being realistic.
I mean, obviously not being like, oh, everything's gonna go my way, you know. But
yeah, because you're just like you're setting yourself up for like failure.
But still being optimistic, but
also like just know that like you can control as much as you can. But, like, other people are living different lives, and it's just going to ruin your plans. Yep.
And, like you mentioned, we're all in our own...
We're all in our own time, and it's kind of like you can live your life however you want it, but, like, depending on how people react to it, it's like you can't control that.
My Apple Watch says, I'm on me time. Sorry, I had to say something dumb.
What?
Like, you and I might both have Apple Watches, and they might say the same time, but we're not on the same time.
But we're on a different time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're on different timelines.
I
Anything else to say?
No, I was gonna mention something, but it's gonna take us into a whole nother rabbit hole and another
okay.
box. But I'll save it for next episode. But
Because
yeah,
you really like, I was getting into it, and like I was going into a different dimension, but then you said that dumb thing. I'm like, yeah, watch, and it took me out, and now I'm like,
Sorry.
where am I?
sorry. Remember that dimension, and we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah. Anyways,
But anyways, if you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once,
don't
don't. But also, if you want,
do. But also,
just go in.
just read the Wikipedia page.
Just read the Just read the book.
Yeah. There's no book.
The book was better than the movie. Trust me.
Even though there was no book.